known and decorated from the Debecca Pass battle, right? Yep. All you guys got where they used brand new tech that just come out and never been used on the battlefield. But anyway, so Chris, tell us what you got. I mean, we started out a little bit advanced. This is our second run because we forgot to turn on the video. But high tech. But lay out the groundwork for what you guys are doing and how you ended up with the javelins, which kind of made this whole battle eventful in and of itself. So lay the groundwork for what you guys were doing, how you ended up with the javelins, and what was going on, kind of thing.
Right. Like Mike was saying, it was relatively new to the battlefield. There's been training on it, for maybe previously a year, 2 years. I don't know the history of that, but I know before we deployed, it was like, hey, we got the javelin, we got a whole, whatever. We want you guys to take them into combat. So we had training. I only got a few hours, so I had to go do some logistical stuff. But the rest of the team pretty much stayed and got the full, 8-hour training. But it was, I liked it. It was a cool system. It was you get this, what they call the clues, like a little command module, a monitor, and then you had your weapon system, the actual missile firing device, off to the side held by somebody else. So the guy with the command center, he kind of, using satellite GPS, he would find the target, lock on the target, press fire, and like in the video, you see that missile pop up and then just go, and it disappears. You're not seeing it like, oh, look at it go. It just goes up and it finds a target that you've locked onto. While it's doing that, you can pack up all your stuff, and get in your vehicle and move to a new position while that missile is seeking, and then coming right down on top of its target.
Wow.
So that's what made it such an advantageous weapon, is because you could fire it and move. So you don't have to stay there and wait, lock, hold. So that was cool.
Right. Either I know with some of the laser targeting, they have to stay there, or there's some that have, I've even some that actually had wires attached to the rocket itself. Is that
the tow missile system? Actually, wires. They use that in Vietnam and Korea. I think even World War II, they had the tow. And then, yes, we would go on certain recons. You go tag the target with your laser, and you'll hold your laser on the target, and the close air support would come in, find the laser, and hit. That was another technique. So this was a different, where we could just, let the missile system do all the work. We just press fire. But anyways, so we thought, okay, let's take it into combat. Let's see. But like I mentioned earlier, we went to go the night before we infilled. We went pick up all our ammunition, get it all loaded, loading up our 4 trucks. Each team had 4 trucks, 4 light skin Humvees, and we came up to the Javelin missile system, and like, hey, should we take these? We're not really that well trained on. We've never fired them for real, only simulation. And I asked the weapons sergeant, I said, what do you think? He's like, yeah, I think we're good to go. I said, okay, let's load them up. Load it, take as much as you can, as much as we can fit. And other teams that refused, it turned down their allotment. So I guess maybe we got a few extra. So fortunately, we got as much as we could carry, and it came very useful like 2 or 3 weeks later.
So when you guys left for the mission you were going on to the Debecca Pass, that little intersection that you were to take, that re-explain how you guys were aware that obviously the limitations of your vehicles, you weren't sure of the Javelin. So tell them about how you were going to address the whole the enemy armor situation if you were to engage armor.
And like I said, before you deploy, you're in your isolation or you're in your planning phase. And one of the things that we were not going to do when we're in combat was engage armor, tanks, anything that's got a bigger gun than what I got on my shoulder. We're not going to, that was not a target we're going to engage. So we kind of knew that there was no plan for us to fight tanks, which was fine. I was fine with that. Um, and in this battle, we had the Peshmerga, like 100 dismounts, infantry, Peshmerga, and then there was two teams, 4 vehicles per team. So we had 250 cals, and so 450 cals and 4 Mark 19 40 millimeter, basically, guns. And then we had the javelin systems, and everyone had their maybe a saw or their whatever rifle they carried. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of armament as far as to engage, other than infantry. And so the point of this battle that we were involved in, the battle for Debeka Pass, we were just moving into the greens. They called the green line. We're moving up to the green line, kind of pushing into Iraq to take Mosul and then Kirkuk, the oil fields of Kirkuk, and
Right. Right.
push from the north with the Peshmerga, a joint operation. We were expecting some resistance because the northern Iraqi army was in place and they had defensive positions.
It's disintegrating, right?
Well, we fire those motherfuckers up.
You see a helmet and a man, a protect man.
We'll start firing and make a U-turn. What happened now?
Well, you know what? And one thing about the video, and those of you who watch this will see this. This is really cool that what you're watching on the video is the first time, pretty historic. I mean, it's not like the lunar landing or anything, but it's kind of cool. First time this thing was fired. And then you watch the video, and you guys had a really excellent position. You're on an elevated position above the intersection that the Iraqis were trying to hold. You guys are looking down on that. I mean, it's kind of surprising that the Iraqis weren't there to start with. I mean,
they were actually on another ridge line beyond the intersection.
Okay.
So they were in a well fortified position, but they moved off that to push us back.
Right.
So they kind of drew them out. I don't think it was intentional, but they saw us as low hanging fruit. Let's go kill some special forces guys and Americans in Peshmerga. So that's what I'm assuming their thinking was. And so they sent a column up, 4 tanks, 4 armored personnel, or 6 armored, I don't remember the numbers exactly, and like 100 dismounts, So they sent a force that was, 2 to 1, 3 to 1 on, against
us.
It's
pretty substantial. Well, and what's so fascinating, kind of for me, what's fascinating about this story is, well, Chris was doing that in Iraq shortly. I don't know how long after the event had transpired. I happened to be watching the news during the day because the war was on, and I didn't usually watch TV during the day, but I happened to be home. I was watching the news, and they said there's been a friendly fire incident, and the brother of a Kurdish general, I think it was a Kurdish general, was killed in a friendly fire incident. It was kind of big news, and I can't remember what they showed, if it was just like a map and a thing, and I didn't know you were involved in it at that time, but I always, in my mind, imagined, even after we talked about it later, after you got back from your deployment, I always assumed that this incident happened like on the other side of a mountain. So, in my mind, the American air support jet flies over your position, and as he's making his 3-mile turn, 3-4 miles away, he sees what looks like some Iraqis sneaking up on your position, and then they bomb it. I didn't realize you guys were right there. It's like 100 yards away.
Yeah.
He drops a 2,000-pound bomb on this tank. I mean, it must have knocked you guys flat. I mean, how bad was it? I mean, was a concussion.
Yeah, it was obviously it surprised us. I mean, we obviously knew the bird came behind us. We weren't
Sure.
expecting to drop a payload, and it was very startling, you know. And thinking back, like I said, over 20 years ago, it was kind of like, oh shit, those are our guys. It's like, now what are they going to do?
Yeah, I guess so. Hey, motherfucker!
Because you're standing up. You're standing, right there. The Peshmerga, the Kurds are right with you guys. You're all standing around watching everybody engage the Iraqis.
Well, that was the thing where we were our defensive line. We didn't have any Peshmerga with us with our vehicles. They had all pulled back behind us. So they were the infantry. They had pulled back and they were kind of on the reverse side of this slope, for cover concealment. So we were kind of, we had our 8 vehicles lined up, shooting at, engaging. So we didn't have eyes on them basically. They were kind of our rear, our 6 o'clock. And then a bunch of them got killed and wounded. And in the video, you'll see the cars burning and the flames and the smoke. Right. And that's a friendly fire incident.
Right. Tragic. So you were saying that your medics just were literally close enough. They just ran right over there.
They ran right over. They said, "I'm out. I gotta go." And we said, "Go." And I guess a couple other guys who weren't medics went to help the medics because 13, 15, 20, the number of injured. I mean, it was pretty overwhelming if you were just 2 of you. And I did see a guy crawling out, a Peshmerga crawling out. He didn't have any legs, and he's getting away from the burning vehicle. And so it was pretty intense. I said, well, I'll just stay here and shoot at bad guys. I don't have a very good bedside manner, so I'm like, I'm gonna just
You have to move this motherfucker forward, man. Bring it over here.
So that was another, and you'll see in the video, another thing that really is kind of surreal is before, it's kind of hard to tell when, at one point you just see the burning truck. So the start of the video, everybody's just standing around. You'll see the first Javelin be fired, but everybody's there taking pictures, talking. You're in there, you're taking pictures when you got your camera. And it doesn't really, it looks more like a training event. It doesn't really look like you're engaged in a pretty major battle. Right. It's kind of it's a very surreal kind of video. And really interesting.
All the other videos I have, other missions we went on. I mean, we were always kind of surrounded by Peshmerga. I mean, there was always these layers of like protection that we were, plus we had CAS. We weren't like out there on the perimeter by ourselves, you know what I'm saying? So there was probably maybe a false sense of security. But, we were pretty relaxed. And we actually spent like 4 or 5 days out in that position and we were receiving, continual mortar fire. I mean, they were still in positions, whatever, a mile or 2 from us. They knew we were there, and they occasionally would take some shots at us. Sure. We were just there keeping an eye on them. But yeah, we were never in that, I never felt this sense of panic or fear of, oh no, just kind of, you're doing what you're trained to do.
That's van right there.
It was, I guess, during the Iraq War, that was the most successful battle of that war was with the Javelins, Special Forces.
That's
So,
good. Yeah. Well,
we called the position we moved back to. We had already identified that was our Alamo position.
right.
Kind of like this is where we're going to make our stand if we do get into contact with, you know, heavy armor or anything like that.
Sure. Sure.
And that's
Now,
what we did. We moved back to that position. I'll do it. I'll
What-
put something
what did
together,
you
get it
guys
out there, and wait for that pickup to unload all that cash in your driveway.
That's right.
YouTube,
Woohoo!
dump truck.
The YouTube money truck pulls up in front of your house. Where do you want to put the stack of cash?
Throwing the bales off.
Awesome. All right. All right.
Okay. We'll talk
All
to
right.
you
The
later.
profiteers. All right. We'll
Yeah.
see you later. All right. Bye. Is that it?
Yeah.